How do we give scripturally? We will use this word give to explain scriptural given. Give generously. Give generously. In 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6, he said, "But this I say, he that soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he that soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully." If you give little, you get little. If what you sow is what you reap. He said, "Every man according as he purposeth in his heart." Let there be a purpose of heart in giving. So let him give, not grudgingly, of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. This is where the place of church leadership comes in. Sometimes when we want people to give, we cajole them to give. In your means of your effort to motivate the church, sometimes some leaders, some pastors, some prophets use some words to deceive people, to cajole people in giving. Don't compel people to give. Don't sort of trick people to give. Let's be careful that in our encouragement to make people give, in our challenging people to give, make people give, we do not use scriptural means to make people give. It says, not grudgingly, not of necessity. Don't compel them. Let it be from their willing heart. For God loveth a cheerful giver. God loveth a cheerful giver. And so we as givers to give generously. I give intentionally. Give intentionally. You know what is ahead. You know what God is requiring of. You know that somebody is in need. Intentionally meet that need. You know that that individual is also in need over there. Intentionally meet that need. Do you see a need in the church? Do you see a need in your society? Do you see a need in your community? Intentionally give to meet that need. In Exodus chapter 35, verse 21, Exodus 35, in verse 21, "And they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up." Your heart will stir you up. It is when your heart stirs you up, then you give. That's why we say you must have the heart to give, not just the things to give. You can have the things to give and not have the heart to give. But when you have the things to give, and then God gives you the heart to give, even before you have the things to give, if you have the heart to give, the things to give will come in place. The heart stir him up, and everyone whom his spirit made willing, and they brought the lost offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. It says there is a lost offering. Do you know there is a lost offering? Tithe and offering. Give it to God. Don't join the new generation of people that say, no, we don't believe in tithe. Just 1/10 of your gross income, you don't believe in that. Then give all that you have then. Give 100% there. It says there, the lost offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. To the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. You see the church, they need something to be built in the church. They need something to be commissioned in the church. When you have, then you must give. And out of the little you have, then you must give. It says here, to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, and for all his service given is part of our service, and for the holy garment we give for the things of the Lord. How do we give? We give intentionally to build that thing, give intentionally to meet that need, give intentionally to help that person, give intentionally. The next letter is V. Give voluntarily. You don't have to be compelled to give. You give voluntarily. You don't have to force people to make a vow to give. You give voluntarily. In Exodus chapter 35, verse 29, "And the children of Israel brought a willing offering unto the Lord." If you want the blessing of God that came upon the children of Israel, then you will give as the children of Israel gave. It says here, the children of Israel, the Israel of today, will bring a willing offering. Willing offering. Not like they compare you to give. Willing offering. Don't force people to make vows. Willing offering unto the Lord. Every man and woman whose heart made them willing to bring for all the manners of the work which the Lord has commanded to be made by the hand of Moses. Church should beware of trying to compel people to make vow. Let people give willingly. The giving should be voluntary. It's not until when they come and meet you because you are the rich man in that church, until when they want to come and convince you, until when they come to you personally and cajole you. You should be willing to give. You give voluntarily. Not that we have a special set of people in the church. Oh, these are the rich that will give. Let's go compare the rich. They are the stakeholders in the church. Aren't you a stakeholder? Of the little you have, give of that. And when you have much, give of that. Give endlessly. Give endlessly. In Exodus chapter 36. Exodus chapter 36, if there's anything we can learn from the Israelites, is their giving habit. They gave and gave and gave their best. In Exodus chapter 36, I read verse 5. And they spake unto Moses, saying, the people bring much more than enough. Can you see? They bring much more than enough for the service of the work which the Lord commanded to make. And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary, for the people were restrained from giving. Now, from bringing. There's a lesson here. Moses saw that we have gotten enough. He was honest enough to say, children of Israel, don't bring any longer. There are ministers of the gospel who are dishonest. You have enough for yourself, and then you want to take the things from the people to have puff belly, to have excess for yourself. Mind you, the people are suffering, or mind you, the people have given enough and sufficiently when they have given all that is needed. Can you encourage the people, to give to others, to give to other things, and not just yourself? For the work within the church. If the church has gotten enough, let the church tell the people we've gotten sufficient. Verse 7, for the store they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. Just some of our churches are a bit greedy, that we want too much and we keep asking for more.